Bitcoin Weekly. I guess I still am kind of hoping it gets back up into our 125 to 131 range up here. I mean, it's looking a little failure-y. That's not a particularly strong high. You're not seeing a lot of volume on it. The SRSI has come back down. MACD definitely needs to recenter. We have a pair of what could be nesting head and shoulders. Clearly, if we're bullish, we don't want to see that. The big one, which really hasn't gotten too far into it yet, but there's a lesser one here, clearly, right, which is this one. And I actually like these. I like these a lot. It's really common to see them, to see nesting. This one would probably be a lot steeper, to be honest with you. It'd probably be more something like this, and then head down into this. It's not uncommon at all to see a head and shoulders as either the head or a shoulder of another head and shoulders. Really common to see it on the right shoulder. At least that's when I tend to see it. I don't know how far the SRSI wants to come down before it bounces. I was really hoping to see a move up into that 125 range, above 125 before the dip, but we may not get it. And I am looking for a dip, maybe another 2 or 3 weeks, so possibly into September. I'm really hoping to see a good solid dip, probably back below 100,000. And then that would set apart our Q4, like the really happy good bull run Q4. I would be really stoked on that. So it is good that we didn't see a run, up above the 131. Like I felt that would have been unsustainable. If it had gone much above that, that would have kind of been our top for maybe a month or two, and then that would just thrown everything completely off. So this isn't bad. I just kind of wished it had pushed up a little bit more. Could still, right? I mean, we could see we could see it come down here as a major pivot right here at the pivot at 112. So there's one at like 112 and 110. A couple of pivots there could turn around, could dip a tiny bit lower. I mean, we have our the rising channel here. It can bounce off. I mean, there is some hope, but this is heading down with some momentum. Like daily's pretty well bottomed. We'll want to push back up. Right, and it's definitely at a level where it could do that. So I would expect a bounce from there, at least short term. I guess what I thought would happen happened a little bit early. Like I said, we might get a turnaround. I think it was like Thursday, I said, and when we did get a drop there. What was that? Yeah, Thursday. So it did turn around on Thursday. I said Thursday, maybe Friday, right? If I recall correctly from our last session. And we did get the turnaround Thursday, nice turnaround. I mean, big bearish engulfing candle and headed down from there. Expect a little retrace off of this. Maybe come back to 118.5 would be 50%. If you don't use fibs at all, that's completely fine, but always look at the 50%. Jason Bassino uses the 50% line a lot. That's sort of the dividing line, right? I mean, less than a 50% pullback is kind of weak, and that signals some continuation, probably a shallow continuation. 50% is healthy. The 618, of course, the golden pocket, that's super healthy. But if it gets much below that, then it's just, it's weak. So maybe look for a bounce, maybe to like 118.5, maybe a little bit higher. I mean, see 119, you certainly see there's some resistance up there. I'd say 120 is definitely local resistance. Do not expect a bounce beyond that. I mean, maybe a wick, but I wouldn't expect closures beyond that at this point. Came up, drove into the range, defined the top here, came back down. Here's the bottom of the range. Came up, deviation, big engulfing candle. So that is pretty likely deviation. Came back down, checked the bottom, probably going to bounce back up. If it doesn't come back up here to the 120, then it's probably going to break lower. Yeah, that's just how that works. We're showing some pretty strong downward momentum. Good move, some upside wicks here. The volume is decreasing, so maybe the drive's dropping off a little bit. And again, we are approaching that 112 level where you would expect to see a bounce. Maybe this is softening, although that has not happened yet. 1 hour looks like it's pushing up a tiny bit, right? This looks like it wants to come up, so it may come back down and dip into the adaptive band again. And remember, if it spends any amount of time down here in the adaptive band, it pushes the range lower. Here we have a head and shoulders thing. I don't like these continuation patterns. I've said that a lot. However, in this particular instance, what you have here is definition of maybe a little push into a dividing band in between the sub ranges here, but definition of the bottom of the band, a check back up to it, and then a push back down. Local resistance on the 1 hour, 116.6. More probably this level. We've got a couple of shoulders here. If it popped back now and hit, it would probably hit this and then react and then come back down at least to like 114 something, 114.6, something like that. It does look like we're starting to develop a little support here. This one wants to push down a little bit lower. Again, I'd say 112 is going to be pretty good local support. Let's take a look at ETH. So jumpy. I've been getting alerts on this one. It's just crazy volatile right now. I think it probably is continuing up. This is looking like a little bit of a megaphone pattern, which it was a continuation of this sweep up, but we're challenging this prior high here. So what we're looking for is probably a short-term pullback, right? I mean, weekly, short-term, so over the next couple of weeks. But we're looking for a pullback, yeah, definitely below 3,000. And possibly even to 25. 25 is a pretty solid level. I seem to remember we having seems like 26, 22. I've got that drawn as a pivot. So remember that 25 level as being fairly significant previously. You can see how this level down here, a little bit lower. Yeah, I think 2,000 is probably done at this point. Maybe next year when things start to drop off. Daily, I think kind of the same thing. I think it's going to bounce down. I think we'll see a bounce here. Here we are right at the top of a channel, a rising trend line here. It's probably going to bounce off of that, but I don't think it's probably going to bounce too high, honestly. You're saying maybe this 43.50 or so, maybe, and then probably continue on down. And I would expect it to check down. Definitely expect it to check down 3,400, get another bounce, and clear potential for a head and shoulders here. I think it might actually be a slightly rising head and shoulders. Yeah, see if it's flat, it's going to push down to 2,000. I don't think that's going to happen. Much more likely we'll see something like this. Looking for amounts, could possibly check down a little bit lower. We've got a couple of levels here. Top of our range, 38, 38.50, something like that. This is looking kind of falling wedgy down here to me, and the MACD has not turned around. So you can see from the histogram that it's still headed down with some pretty decent momentum. So I think it carries us a little bit lower, probably not too much. Again, like 38, 39, probably as low as it's going to go before we get a pretty significant bounce out of that. I don't see much more there. This one, right on the trend line, you can see how it reacted to that down here. It's come back and is checking it now. Down in the adaptive band. Good spot for a bounce. I mean, it's showing a little bit of bear flag potential, but I don't think it's going to push down very strongly from here. Solana on the weekly, kind of don't like this this is kind of a creepy head and shoulders pattern, really big one. And we have a rising channel here. We also have a rising wedge in white. I think we're probably going to check back down under 130. We've got a bearish order block here, and I really think that that's flipped. I mean, a drive up, and some of this is certainly deviation, or a double top up here, and we lost that range, we come down, but I don't think we're going to lose this range. I think maybe we come down, and the worst case scenario is maybe we check off our bearish order block again. It'd be 110, that would actually be really nice. I don't think we'll probably get that. I wouldn't mind seeing Solana at 110 in the next few weeks. That could work out with the monthly, right? I mean, I could just like push down here again, and then rise up. That'd be kind of healthy for a nice run. Because obviously we have a continuation cup here. This is looking a little wonky. It's getting a little stale, to be fair. But that would be a nice run. Pretty good extension, about $400. At this point, if you don't get the dip really quickly, then you'd be looking at next year, and I just don't think that the run is going to continue that long. The daily's really messy. But double top potential here, right? So certainly potential to lose this range. Bottom of the range is about 160. You can see wick down to that area here. I'd say 160, so 159.35, whatever. So 159, 160, really solid pivot. Comes down to that area. It's probably going to bounce, get like a 50% bounce, and then, well, we'll see what happens from there. But if it turns back down for the 50% bounce, then you can expect it probably to try back down to that 125. Gold's dropped off a little bit, not bad. But really solid, to be honest with you. And just the same as I said last week, the gold will continue to be strong as long as there's global instability and uncertainty. I don't like this rising consolidation. It's kind of gone on too long. Certainly a little suspect in that it's just like way up here at the top, and when you get this sort of consolidation up here, I'm really looking for that to be distribution before a drop off. In fact, he certainly says it's going lower. SI down in the adaptive band, it wants to push up. I think we probably will see a push up higher from this. I just don't think it'll go super high. Honestly, I don't think like 4,000 is probably not going to happen unless there's another war or some real hostilities break out. We're seeing some upside wicks. I mean that's selling pressure. Some people have been holding for a while are probably trimming their positions, looking to move into something that is going to give them a little bit more, because this has been fantastic. I mean, this has been an amazing run. So here's our continuation cup rate. Just smashed the target for that, right? Which was 40%, and it took a good while to do that, but crushing run. Gold's looking good, just tired. Bitcoin dominance hopefully topping out here, rejecting nicely. Looks like it fell out of the rising channel. Finally. 60%, so high, and I want to get back down to 50% before alts start running. Traditionally, it's been 40%. I'm not sure we're going to see that now, just because of all the extra weight, basically, all the ballast that ETFs and the institutional money has added to Bitcoin. They're not going to float alts, right? Again, maybe some of the major alts, right? ETH, Solana, Jube, maybe even. And again, they're going to retain more of that. They're going to be more of a value screen, more of a filter than I think they have been in the past. So there's just going to be less trickle down. USDT dominance. Here we go. This is bounced up exactly like we said. I said it was probably going to come back up to like 4.5. 4.48. Okay, so it almost did that, and hopefully not liking this, because clearly this is an inverse head and shoulders potential. If this thing drives up again, this is just going to crush alts. So we could see a little bit more of a push. I kind of don't think so. A little inefficiency here. I think that might have been filled right here. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I mean, pretty clean levels. At any rate, I think maybe we just drop off from here. Let's hope. Much below the 4 hours, not really useful on dominance. It's looking a little tired on the upper end, right? Clear rising channel here. Although it is pushing up, it's holding in the top part of the channel right here. I think it may be getting a little flaggy. So Dixie's probably going to come up, may put in an equivalent or a lower low, and then probably continue down. This isn't too bad. We got 2 higher lows. We'll see where it goes. I just don't think it probably has a lot of strength to push back up above the 100. Total's not looking good. This is definitely looking bearish for all crypto. That's definitely got a big head and shoulders look to it. Ooh, that would probably push down significantly. If that was level, then that would put us back down here. Don't want to see it drop to 3 trillion, but that could definitely be in the cards. That would play pretty nicely with my hypothesis that we see a good dip at August, September. Others, same kind of thing, really. Not quite as extreme, but others looking a little bearish too. Total 3 over total 2. Getting a bounce, but man, that is not looking happy. So alts are just not healthy, right? And this is really sensitive for our alts, for the money flow into alts. That's just not looking real great right now. So we need the Bitcoin dominance to come down before that's anything like. The XRP was the other one I was trying to think of that I think will benefit from retention of value. I'm pretty bullish on XRP. I just think there's a lot to like about it. And some inefficiency down here that hasn't been filled. I question that a little bit, but we have this bullish order block down here. Right now, major support at 2. You'd be really surprised to see it dip down below 2, but big inefficiency down to 231. So I look for this to continue down on the weekly, right? We're about halfway down the SRSI. MACD also wants to dip down and reset. Maybe see it drop down like 250. But I don't think we'll see 2. Possible, I just don't think so. Daily, not a big fan of the structure. Maybe 260, 257 or so. Look at that. That's a pretty good level right there. I actually like that 258. If it dips down there, I might look at lower time frame action for long. That would actually be pretty cool. Here's our regression channel. I see that being pretty healthy. Maybe it comes down, maybe does another wick below the channel, right? So it dips before the channel actually hits it, and then pops up, and then maybe breaks out. 4 hour, maybe developing some support. A little early. Downwards momentum is softening here. SRSI providing some buoyancy. MACD hasn't quite turned around, but it's definitely softening. So maybe another push down. A little push down and a bounce from like 280. Let's take a look at PLTR. I should have been trading this. I said this was going to drop. I know I said this was going to drop last week. And it is dumping, man. Beautiful. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. There's a gap here someplace. It's going to fill the gap. Oh, there it is. Just crushed the gap. And how? And we're still headed down. No, this is a super nice run off earnings. So we got the Thursday dip. Remember this? We got the Thursday dip. And then I think they probably announced after hours on Friday, and then it just went ripping. That's one of the best things you can get. A good after hours Friday earnings announcement. Bam. Then everybody has all weekend to digest it. Everybody has 2 days to hear about it, and then, they're all slavering to like get in because they don't trade pre-market or anything, so they're all slavering to get in on the market open. But obviously it's coming back down. So look for a bounce from here, and then probably a continuation back down. A pivot here at 145 or so, and then possible continuation down to 130 level. Possible we could see 125 again. Maybe a little hopeful, but not unreasonable, right? That would be a super nice buy point. Really, really expect a bounce from there. That is heading down very strongly, though. I mean, it could easily carry down to 145, easily, before it pushes back up. That's some sales pressure, boy howdy. I don't know if these were maybe some forced liquidations, but more likely people just getting scared. Like, oh no, like people who bought up here just going, oh my God. Not a double top, but boy, that was a swing failure. For sure. A little deviation, and then just yeah, still had it down with some power. Do you think happened with Apple? Not a lot. So this is just lagging. This is just lagging down here. Daily's definitely very bearish. Very bearish. Yeah, we're looking for a red week off of Apple.